Hi y'all, welcome back to the channel. As we mentioned in our last video, we're going to be doing a three-part series on the installation of PRP seats and PRP harnesses in our Jeep. We're going to be breaking this down to a 3-video series. The first video will be this one, obviously, and it's going to go over the different things we purchased, the seats. It's going to go over the harnesses and then the mounts for the seats as well. And then we're also going to remove the stock seats from the Jeep and get those out and get it ready to go for the next series, part 2. That will be the installation of the mounts and the seats themselves and getting them all adjusted and kind of go over the different types of adjustment settings that are available with the mounts that I purchased. Video number 3 will be removing the original seat belts and installing the harnesses in the Jeep as well. And then we'll also go over some of the little tidbits of electrical harnesses and wiring. We're also going to talk about the different dash lights that will come on once you disconnect a lot of the OEM things like seat belts and the clasp for the seatbelt harnesses as well. So kind of how to combat that. That'll also be to your discretion and application needs. So stick with us and we're going to get this going today. Okay, so here are the mounts that we chose to use for the front seats. There are many different manufacturers that make mounts for the Jeep that work with PRP seats or a lot of the aftermarket racing seats. We chose to go with Out of Hand Fabrication, company out of Pennsylvania. And the reason why I chose to go with these mounts is they specifically advertise them to be having the ability to be very low to the floor of the Jeep. I'm a pretty tall guy, and I'm 6'4", and so when you go with the aftermarket seats, a lot of the people talk about putting just the PRP mount that bolts to the OE slider in your Jeep. Once you do that, your head is really tall, and I have a cage in the Jeep, and it puts your head closer to the metal bars. So to reduce that height, we're going to lower the seat down on the mounts, and these have an extra low position that I wanted to give it a shot. So what you see here is a general layout of what comes with any of the seats mounts. You're going to get the slider, you're going to get the base mount. This bracket bolts to the top of the slider, and then you have on their brand, you have multiple selections on top of these. So this piece here will go in, we'll go in more detail. This bolts to here. You can either bolt the seat right to here, or you can bolt this to it. And now you can see how you have more height adjustments, 1, 2, 3, and then you have forward and backwards to give yourself maximum movement there. This will be on the back of the seat. This is called the cant. And this adjustment goes up and down when you bolt it in. And so that'll be more of a rear cant and more of a front cant and so on and so forth. So that's what these are for. So you have this height adjustment. This is the lowest height adjustment. You can actually bolt the seats right to the lower bracket with no slider, and that is the lowest adjustment you can have. I'm hoping to go to the second to the lowest, which is this bracket on top of the slider to maintain the use of the slider. Before you install these, a little quick tip is to paint the outside slider black or whatever you want to. They're going to be like this on the inside, but you paint that part black because that is visible to the outside. I just did the one on the driver's side outer, and then over here I did the passenger side outer as well. So just a quick paint there with some Steel It, which is a good brand paint that does not rust and things like that. It's high quality. You can see it does scratch, but I probably scratched that prior to it curing. Once you install it, there's going to be a wire that goes from this bracket to this bracket. So when you operate this lever, it'll actuate both sliders at the same time, allow you to move the seat forward and backwards. So overall, that's how this is going to work. This is the passenger side. That's the driver's side. Obviously, it comes raw steel when you get it. I had these powder coated. You have good high quality bolts and hardware, nuts and washers, and you get a sticker. That's all for the seat mounts on the front. So these are also go on the front seat mounts for the 5-point harness. This is where the 5th point attaches. called a submarine harness. And this goes to the seat brackets on the side and then the middle. I did forget about these, but that's also one of the reasons why I bought those mounts, because they have a mounting hole for the 5th point on the harness. All right, for the rear mounts for the PRP seats, we chose to go with Moto-Built. I found out they're the actual brand manufacturer that PRP used to use. They no longer sell them through PRP. So if you're looking for those original mounts that PRP used to make, they're now made by, or been made by Moto-Built, and you can still buy them through Moto-Built. All right, so the bracketry on the rears is a little simpler than the front. You just have a couple different side brackets. This is the middle piece here. This is going to be the rear mount. These are all made the bolt to the original bolt patterns that your seats are using at the current time. What's neat about these is this is going to be the front piece. I'm not sure if that's maybe upside down, but like that, and the other goes like this, I believe. But this gives you the ability to use that pack mounting system to mount different things like a flashlight or a first aid kit or whatever on the inside or outside. This will be where the seat is here going backwards. These also have the hole for a 5th point harness on the rear as well. You can see these brackets will go here towards the back, and then you have 1 seat or 2 seats. These will work with individual rear seats. If you choose to go with 2 bucket seats and mimic your fronts, or you can do the bench style, which is what we're doing with this Jeep install. So these come raw steel, and obviously again have the powder coated satin black. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so these are the front seats. We chose to go with PRP, obviously. You can get these fully customized, the different colors, the different textures. You can go super wild and crazy with all different things. They're all on the website. The cool thing about PRP is no matter what color or stitching or texture you do, it's all the same price. And so that's that. So go over a couple of functions. We got the PRP Enduro. These have the openings here for the 5-point harnesses on the top. They have the hole here for the submarine or 5th point as well. The bottom seat is completely removable. That was loud. And this is the harness for the heated lower seat. There's going to be one also for the back as well that we'll hook up later. So this can be taken out and cleaned. And one of the cool things about these seats is they are called a suspension seat. And I had no idea what that meant. But as you can see, this is like a little trampoline down here. And it makes it way more comfortable, absorbs the bumps when you're going off-road. The Velcro just holds this back together, and so on. But this is what makes these a high-performance sought-after seat for the off-road and racing world. You have the adjustment here because these do recline. So when you order your seat, you'll make sure they'll do driver and passenger side, get these on the right side of the seat. Going on to the back, we opted to have, I believe it's just called a pocket, maybe a MacBook pocket. I don't know what it's called, but anyways, that's what we got on the back. This is the harness for the rear upper, electrical for the heated seat, so heated top and bottom. There's a pack down here with all the different connectors and buttons and things like that to install as well for the rear. All right, for the harnesses, we also chose to go with PRP. These are the 5.2, so the 5 is going to be how many different points there are. You can see the picture. There's the 2 shoulder, 2 lap, and the lower submarine harness. That gets you the 5. The 2 is the width of these. It seems to be most people go for a 3-inch upper, and then they offer a 2-inch lower or 3 and 3. We chose to go with a 2 because it's a V type that comes down here. It can rub on your neck as it's going around your neck. So we got the 2-inch, and the world, according to PRP, is moving slowly towards 2-inch all the way around, like these, where kind of old school thought was to have the 3-inch. So technology's got better and so on to go down to 2-inch. We also opted for what they call the clean latch cam lock. It is SFI approved. This mechanism I'm going to show you in a minute. You just twist the cam and then all of the pieces pop out. It does stay attached to one of these though, obviously, and then you just click them and go back together. Some people say this is not good for off-road, being dust and dirt can get into these little points, which I'll show you in a minute. However, there you have upgraded this and have some exclusive technology that keeps that from happening and so on. So we'll take it apart here and show you how it looks. So this is the system all attached together. These are your shoulder pads. These are also removable with Velcro and able to be cleaned. This one here does not have the shoulder connecting point here. They're kind of starting to do away with that a little bit, what I've noticed on the internet and talking to the guys at PRP. Lots of different terminology and functions about this. I don't know all the words, but this is a quick release by pulling this up to allow to get the harness to loosen up. Same thing here for these red guys to pull this backwards to let this loosen up really fast, because this is spring loaded, as you see right here. It's got a little spring in there. This is again the submarine belt, the lower one that goes to that 5th point we talked about earlier on the mounts. So to release this, we simply just toggle this over. And as you can see, they all pop apart immediately. The other type of latch is one that has a large lever that goes over. You connect all the little slots on a pin and then pop it over. Again, it's just one way, half it doesn't the other for what people want. But this is the technology that they have now, where it's got this little rubber boot. This actually is flexible, and when this goes in this hole right here, you hear it kind of click. So this dust boot keeps the dirt from going in here. Now, obviously, what they recommend is every little bit of a dusty road or trip to get air and blow this out with some air. That's super easy to do, and that's really it. Again, these are SFI approved, 16.1. So they do have an expiration date on there. I think it's for 3 years or so. That's it for those. Coming to you live. We're in the garage. Okay, this is the rear seat that we chose for the Jeep. You have 2 different options for PRP in the rear. Is you do individual seats that match the front, or a bench seat. This seat we had spec'd out for 2 positions. That's why it has the one open in the middle for the seat belt on this side, and then for this side you can get this for 3. However, I don't know how you fit 3 people back here. It's tight enough for just 2. But that's what it has. These are for the 5th point harness. If you were to choose a 5th point, I believe it goes through here. I'm not 100% sure on that, and it's just a logo. Otherwise, I think these are just grab handles. I don't know what. But obviously, we match the same color, pattern, and texture as the front. You can do these rear ones identical to the front, no matter what you get, texture-wise, pattern-wise, color-wise, all that stuff. They do 1 large slot across the back instead of the 2 individual ones. Kind of would like to see the 2 individual ones that match the front, but that's just kind of how it is. You can get heat on the rear. We did not, because they won't be used a whole lot. So they do match the same Enduro looking seat as the front as well. So slots here on the side for the side harness to go through, and so on and so forth. All right, for the rear, we chose PRP. These are going to be their easy harness, 4-point. So again, with the 5th point, it's an extra part that takes a little bit more time to hook up that 5th point. It's also more of a safety thing. If we're doing a really intense trail, a steep climb, or potential of a rollover, there won't be anybody really in the Jeep other than myself. So we don't necessarily want to go with the 5th point on the rear. So we also did the easy harness, which uses a standard seat belt latch type connector that you would see on any car in today. And the 2 sides come together. They're sewn into the bottom. So you just click this part here and then throw them over your shoulder and you're done. So it's a lot easier to get in and out of, hence easy harness. But it still gives you the level of protection that people need on the back in the event of a rollover or a crash that would happen. So we'll open this up and show you what that looks like. So this is the latch we were referring to earlier. So just like a regular car would have, and that's it. It does have the shoulder chest strap there. So this goes down one side of the seat. And then to get out, you just pop this back, boom, and then you're done. So I'll go throw these on the seat and picture and see what it looks like.
Okay, let's go.
All right, now we're going to go ahead and remove the factory seats out of the Jeep. We're going to do a real quick once over of the driver's side. Obviously, the passenger side is going to be identical, and the rear is pretty self-explanatory as well. With the bolts, they're all 18 millimeter socket, and so I'm going to go by hand and do all these and pull them out. Under the front seats, there is going to be an electrical connector that's going to go to your seat chime, to the airbag sensor, the seat position sensor. If you have heated seats, you'll have a connector for that as well, but there is a sub harness that comes out for the base of the Jeep, and that's the only thing you need to unplug right now to get the seat out. So over here I have a couple tools, 18 millimeter socket, and then a smaller impact. I needed this guy to pry the connector out here to get it open enough to get the connector to actually come apart, and also your flashlights and so on. So we'll do this one here in the front real fast. All right, then from there we have to take off this one Torx here, which I actually just forgot about. So let me go get the Torx for that. Ta-da! So this is the connector here for the sub harness. The underside of your Jeep may be different than this. You may have carpet, amplifier, no amplifier, whatnot. This guy goes to here, to this connector right here. It's hard to get to this to release the back when it's in its home, which is right here. So I pop this off of here with that upholstery tool to get access to the back pin. This drives your seat heaters, which is this piece here, and some other things and so on. But now that seat's out. So we'll repeat that same procedure for the other seat. All right, y'all, that finishes up the removal of the factory seats front and rear. Again, everybody's Jeep is a little bit different with harnesses and wires. You know, some people have a ARB compressor under the back seat that may complicate things and so on. But that's going to be a wrap for this one. We'll see you guys next on part 2 for the next video, where we're going to install the new mounts and the new PRP seats. Stay tuned.
看你们进了个字儿，跟我碰一碰就是了。是你们看到的对的，如果你不坚定，你就是废。